Cue that reggae soundtrack. This is Jamaica, a white sand wonderland.
Alas, are not here on vacation. We're here to examine an emerging therapy that's making waves in mental health treatment.
Jamaica is exploring the potential benefits of psilocybin, a compound found in so-called magic mushrooms. Illegal throughout most of the world, here the psychedelic drug is seen as a mind-altering remedy to treat a range of mental health conditions.
I'm wondering what local islanders make of Jamaica's shroom boom. Can you see me through the mirror?
Yeah, man, respect. Well, the magic mushroom is very good. It's very good for your nerves, keep you calm and all of that. So that's why we like it here so much.
I think the magic mushroom is no good for tourists. Whenever time people take the mushroom, they get crazy and end up in the hospital. So the mushroom is no good for us.
Jamaicans overall are embracing magic mushrooms, from capsules to the plant. I feel like, yeah, retreats and camping. Yeah, we're definitely embracing it as a society.
So let's examine Jamaica's push to be a world leader in mushroom therapy. It's going to be psychedelic. This is Mindset.
There are few better ways to enjoy Jamaica's northern coastline than in the privacy of a villa with a view. But these tourists are here for a deeper purpose. They're on a 4-day retreat where guests consume magic mushrooms for their medicinal properties. Kirsten Watermeyer was recommended the retreat by her brother.
He said he was profoundly changed from having done the treatment here, and we have the same childhood traumas. He's a doctor, he's an anaesthetist, so he has the medical science background, and for him to turn around and say, this just did it. It's eye-opening for me.
The mother of two has tried several therapists where she lives in America.
I have a lot of diagnosis-based depression and situational depression. It takes time to get in and comfortable with the therapist in the first place. Whereas, from my understanding, the psilocybin, it just basically pushes you through the door and says, deal with it.
Kirsten is a guest of Troy Tennyson's magic mushroom retreat, Mycelia, which started in January 2023. The Canadian has a background in real estate.
It's an amazing, powerful medicine. I tried it, and it was kind of very scary the first time. You definitely don't want to experiment with that yourself. You want to be around people that you trust, that have your back.
Why do you feel this is the perfect setting for such a therapy?
I find that nature is a better place to do it, and there just hasn't been any rules or regulations placed that would make it difficult to start up a retreat here in Jamaica.
Mycelia is one of around 20 companies offering psilocybin-assisted therapy in Jamaica. Troy's retreat accepts up to 10 guests at a time, all screened beforehand with at least one call and a questionnaire.
I've only ever rejected 2 people on the basis of concerns over their medication, or in one case it was the person's age. They were just too young for us to care for.
So for Sacred Son, that is for... Of course. Yeah, awesome.
Over 4 days, Troy's staff will give guests 3 doses of psilocybin, each increasing in size. Today they're preparing the largest quantity, called the heroic dose, designed to give a psychedelic trip of up to 6 hours.
If it feels like it's overwhelming, they can slow the process down.
A hero's dose is usually anywhere from 7 to 14 grams, depending on that particular client. The deeper you go, the more repairs that get done. That's what it takes to get people there. And we don't miss.
In Jamaica, there are no laws governing how much psilocybin a person can take. It's a stark contrast to other countries where you could be jailed or face the death penalty for possessing magic mushrooms.
We're changing lives, we're saving lives. I think that we're way behind. This should have been done 40 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. I've had people that had suicidal tendencies a couple of times, and the mushrooms have taken that desire away, which is a good thing. This is what the people need, not filling them full of our synthesized antidepressants, which are just creating another problem.
How much knowledge did you amass before opening the doors to, retreats like this?
I looked for people in the industry through LinkedIn. I consulted with doctors. I have doctors who are friends. And every time I have a retreat, I learn something new. So we just continue to make it a little bit better each time. This is such a new business that we're still not quite there with everyone knowing everything about what we're doing.
Do you feel at this retreat there is adequate supervision when people take the mushrooms?
Oh yeah, 100%. We usually have one guide for each 2 people.
With a master's degree in neuroscience, Teodora Petkova is one of those guides.
We don't believe in disorders. We don't believe in anyone being sick or broken. It's because certain needs are not being met, and we get to know compassionately what these individuals are needing.
Aside from overseeing the psychedelic trips, these guides provide a range of other activities, like yoga and sound healing. But it's magic mushrooms that have the biggest impact.
Through psilocybin, there's this transcendental experience, and then that opens up the space in our brain physically to create new neuronal connections and to be like, oh, maybe this story that I tell myself about not being worth it, maybe that's just a story and I can choose a different path. There is no one experience. There's anything from expansive, blissful joy. And there's the flip side. There is a replay of some of the most traumatizing experiences that might have been encountered in your life. And my personal belief is the medicine doesn't always give you what you want, it gives you what you need.
Such psychological enlightenment for these 4 days comes with a $3,500 bill. But that's cheap. Some one-week retreats in Jamaica charge up to $16,000 per person. Customers like Kirsten are undeterred by the price.
So in one word, what do you want?
Acceptance. I think all of our traumas comes down to self-love, self-recognition, which is very lacking in myself especially. And I'm hoping to see the light, the bigger light in life.
Leaving the coast gives me time to reflect. I only saw wealthy foreign tourists at the retreat.
But what about Jamaicans? Are they benefiting from mushroom therapy? I've come to the capital, Kingston, to find out more.
At the University of the West Indies, psychiatrist Dr. Winston Delahaye is researching the effects of mushroom therapy. Previously Jamaica's chief medical officer, he now heads the Caribbean Psychedelics Association. Since 2021, this lab on campus has tested the psychoactive properties of local magic mushrooms to ensure they're safe to sell and export.
So in essence, you're testing for a pure product.
This laboratory is what allows you to have that objective sheet of paper with objective evidence of what's in this product that you're buying. I don't take chances with my health, so I would prefer getting my products from somewhere like this.
At his clinic downtown, this patient is one of 120 Jamaicans treated with doses of psilocybin by Dr. Winston. He says sufferers of severe trauma, obsessive-compulsive disorder, alcoholism and depression have all benefited from his 9-week treatment program.
So here's a product that can be prescribed for persons, and on a single usage, depending on the dosage, they do well and stay well. I know no other product like that in all of psychiatry. Hey, Kirk.
Hey, Doc.
What happens here is very different to Troy's retreat. Under Dr. Winston, patients receive incremental doses of psilocybin every 3 days for 3 weeks, followed by a 7-day break.
Just providing psychedelics for a patient isn't sufficient. We recommend the combination of psychotherapy along with the psilocybin. So safety is of paramount importance. And so it is why I have adopted that method of having persons start slowly. That's just a general concept in medicine. You start low, go slow. But the big difference is that in managing patients over that 9-week protocol, I've had no untoward outcome.
Dr. Winston says his training is vital for assessing suitable candidates.
Do I offer to all patients? No, we need to be very clear on patient selection. You must eyeball each person. If you've had a history with me of not coming, missing appointments, and heavy cannabis use, I'm not your guy for that. A patient with a history of schizophrenia or a first-degree relative with schizophrenia, clearly not. This is not a silver bullet. It's not for everyone.
Nurses also supervise the treatment.
Almost all patients have some amount of anxiety, especially for PTSD, and you're having memories of very negative experiences. You are going to be agitated. So we need to be there with you so you're not alone. I'm very clear. You shouldn't take more than 1 gram of psilocybin and not be supervised by someone. Certainly at 3 grams, you're going to have cognitive distortions you're not in control of, and at 6 grams, even more so. The effects are dose dependent.
In the past 4 years, Dr. Winston has treated a number of people who were rushed to hospital after they consumed mushrooms in retreats or at home.
Patients can get psychotic with high doses of psychedelics, and it can be persistent.
Jamaica is a signatory to a UN treaty which limits its ability to import or export magic mushrooms. But there's no other restrictions. Dr. Winston says Jamaica's mushroom industry lacks regulations, safeguards, and qualified staff.
But that won't continue, can't continue, should not continue. You don't leave the horse running through the gate. We can build some fences and ensure that they are where they need to be without having things run like a never-ending train.
There are many retreats across Jamaica. Like, what concerns do you have about them?
Well, one, that the safety that's required isn't in place. And the more patients you do, then the more you're going to have of persons with an untoward effect. That's the disadvantage of these retreats, where you may not have full histories. You're dependent on persons self-reporting. So all of these retreats should have access to a psychiatrist who they consult. You must.
And is that happening?
Here,
Are there
to my knowledge, no. But that's just a no-brainer.
Are these retreats giving psilocybin treatment a bad name?
I think ultimately that's the end result.
Some here believe the magic mushroom industry can boost Jamaica's tourist-dependent economy. At a popular mall for tourists from cruise ships, I'm meeting Jamaican entrepreneur Kevin Burke outside a marijuana dispensary which stocks his magic mushroom products. He also uses psilocybin himself to deal with his own mental health issues.
How does it help you?
I had kind of like a social anxiety or kind of calming myself down issue, and psilocybin has certainly helped me with that, patience. And, you know, it definitely helps me stay grounded and evened out, and I'm sharp on it.
Aside from adding psilocybin to chocolate, honey and gummies, Kevin's company also has a mushroom drink in the pipeline. He's looking to cash in on a global psychedelic market that's estimated to be worth $6.4 billion by 2030.
In terms of the price and the accessibility, is it mainly tourists that are buying it, or are you finding Jamaicans are using it as well?
Yeah, it's absolutely being taken advantage of or used by Jamaicans. The medicine, you know, with education and so on, they're getting accustomed to it, of what, you know, ailments or anxiety or whatever they might have. It's mainstream.
Legally, these chocolate bars, which contain 4 grams of psilocybin, can be sold over the counter in any quantity to anyone in Jamaica. Kevin's company packs each product with a warning that it should be consumed in a safe environment and not be eaten by children, women who are pregnant or breastfeeding, and those driving or operating machinery.
Do you think there needs to be more regulation around dosing so people don't, buy way too much and do something really stupid?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be responsible in educating people of what dosage is for what and how that medicine can affect you.
Kevin also runs a retreat and is part of a committee that Jamaica's government has set up to look at how to regulate the psilocybin industry.
Often we see in some countries that go down that medical tourism route, the pursuit of wealth comes before safety, proper regulations. How do you ensure this doesn't happen in Jamaica?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the ones that lead by example, and then there's ones that are, trying to take advantage. Hence why we're getting together this framework. So there's a lot of eyes on Jamaica, and we take that responsibility very seriously.
Seeing the gummies and chocolate sold like any over-the-counter product in a store, it really shocked me because with no legal barriers or regulations around their sale, is it a recipe for disaster?
I don't think they should be available and accessible to persons in just a shop like that.
Dr. Winston shares my concern at how easily magic mushroom products are sold in Jamaica.
They are not regulated, and so people have free access to having these products infused with psychedelics that they know nothing about. I could buy 20 grams if I wish now and share them with you.
It seems as though the lack of regulations has led to the growth of magic mushroom use in Jamaica,
Right.
but it also has the incredible potential to create problems if there aren't better laws in place.
Without a doubt. And so the aim isn't to stifle the development of psychedelics, psychedelic treatment in Jamaica, but it's to recognize and at the same time ensure that we're providing maximum safety.
Back at the retreat, the guests are getting ready to take the heroic dose of psilocybin. A secluded outdoor location is chosen for the trip. This time, it's a botanical garden. I can't help but think, what would happen if someone suffered a psychotic episode, raised blood pressure, or an elevated heart rate from this high dose?
Nothing is without risk, right? We would transport that person to a doctor or the hospital.
Some people we've spoken to have said there should be a trained psychologist on site at every retreat. Do you agree?
I mean, a therapist, depending on who they were, I found them to be more stringent, more standoffish than our therapists, where they're hands-on.
Why would more regulations hamper the experience or affect the work you do?
I think that there's just not enough knowledge to start making rules yet. And I just think regulations just bog things down, keep people out of the market, and add unnecessary costs and obligations to something that really doesn't need to be that regulated.
Just before they take the dose, we stop filming out of respect for their privacy. A few days later, I meet up with Kirsten to see how the magic mushroom therapy affected her.
I think I must have had like 10 or 12 grams. For me, it had a delayed response. I had requested to go back to the villa early because I was just not having fun. I was out of my element. I was hot, bothered. There was too many bugs. But as soon as I was back indoors in the villa, that's when it hit me. You know, people say they see kaleidoscopes. I didn't have any of that. The nausea was pretty strong, but I was very calm, very logical.
So what did you learn about yourself?
I learned that I need to trust myself more. I learned that I'm smarter than I think I am, and that I need to slow down and look at the bigger picture, not be in such a rush to get to the result.
Would you take mushrooms again?
Yes. I think mushrooms in a setting with a therapist could be very helpful because they would be leading you with questions. Whereas This particular trip, I was on my own. Yes, there were facilitators, but they were there to make sure I was safe and okay, not to say, okay, well, now that you've figured that out, how do you feel about this? And I think that's where a therapist combination with mushrooms could really be useful.
Jamaica is showing us possibilities and challenges for magic mushroom therapy. Mental health professionals and patients alike see psilocybin as a new way of improving our psychological well-being. But for now, the lack of regulation and pursuit of profits could put the reputation of this psychedelic paradise at risk. This is the final edition of Mindset. From Cape Town to Seoul, we've explored a wide range of mental health approaches.
If you want to catch our other episodes, go to aje.io/mindset. Thanks for watching.